All right, we're here. We did it.
Yep.
We are
Somehow.
live. Somehow live after everything.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been it's been basically a month since our last normal show, if you don't count the Game of the Year one, but it's been 2 weeks
Or-
since our last time we did anything on here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So you've been gone for 2 weeks just straight out.
Yeah, I was in Europe.
Yep.
That trip was bad,
You got
unfortunately.
sick. Yeah.
I got I got outside of like times where I've had to deal with like had surgeries involved with the illness. This is the most sick I have ever gotten in my life.
I wonder if you had got what I had in early December because I was fucking floored, like in a way that I'm not usually.
It wasn't COVID, I
No.
was testing, those were negative. I'm still sick. I'm on day 11.
Yeah. Is it just like
Like
a bad flu? Did you have a fever for like 2 or 3 days?
so it was a flu when I was over in Italy.
Yeah.
And I was just like in the hotel. That's like all I could do, which sucked because like
Yeah.
literally down the street, like Michelangelo's David was just like hanging out, and it's like, and I'm looking at this hotel room
Just
because
taunting you.
walking around
Yeah.
sucks. Um, that was about a week. The I did get out of the hotel room very briefly to see a couple things,
Okay.
maybe just through force of will.
Sure.
But also because near the very end of the trip, I was starting to like get a bit better,
Yeah.
and so like the flight home is actually when I felt the least fluish.
Great.
Um, then it turned into the craziest cold of my life, and
Oh.
that's what I'm still currently on, and I am just coughing and blowing my nose like every 2 minutes.
Oh. Okay. Maybe it's not what I had then because I didn't have that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's changed. Like it's not a flu anymore, but I'm on day 11 of being sick.
Fuck, that sucks. I did get a cold last week. That's why I wasn't here.
I will say that my first week of my trip, Spain was great. I had a really fun time, and then we flew to Venice. That
Yeah.
was fine. It was cold, but Venice was cool. It was beautiful. And then the day we took our train to um, Florence is when I started feeling bad. And so I got the evening in Florence, so I was able to see some stuff. The following day, I was pretty sick, but I was like, I booked a train ticket to go to Pisa. I'm gonna go see the tower. We got on the train. It's like an hour and a half train ride. We walked to the tower. I took a photo of the tower, turned around, walked back, bought a new earlier ticket home.
Oh man.
It was just like, I just need to check this box.
Yeah.
Like, I'm never going to be back here.
Yeah.
So I didn't do anything else in Florence. Then we went to Rome, and I barely did some stuff in Rome until maybe the last day where I was like, I'm going to see the Colosseum.
Hmm.
God damn it. I'm going to do it.
Man, that really, really sucks. If you had gotten this sick before leaving, would you have canceled the trip and like pushed it back, or would you have still tried to suffer through it?
I think I would have gone because in my head, I would have been like, I've been sick before. This lasts
Yeah.
like a couple days.
Hmm.
And like, ask any time I've ever had something flu like, it was like maybe a day.
Hmm. Sure.
Even that crazy, like when I had that crazy bout when I came back from India, that lasted a day. And after like 2 days, I was totally fine again. And that's how I've like my whole life's been. That's why I'm saying this is like the most sick I've ever been. So I probably would
Right.
have still gone on the trip, assuming it's just going to be a couple days and then I'll be having a great time.
Yeah.
If I somehow knew, oh no, you're in for at least 11 days of this, which would have been a significant portion of that trip, it probably would have been better to cancel it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, like in retrospect. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, bummer. I'm glad you like
Yeah.
got some time doing stuff though. Like you got to do a few things at least before it went to shit.
Yep. Yeah. So definitely a weird trip. It's a lot of real highs and then a lot of real lows. What was really annoying And apologies for the number of times I'm going to be clearing my throat and muting
No,
myself to cough
it's
and
good.
whatnot.
It's fine.
My taste buds were all screwed up. They're like just starting to get better right now. They've been screwed up for a while. So not only did I not want to like eat anything just because like my appetite was gone, but like
Yeah.
everyone was like, you got to drink fluids. You got to get a lot of fluids in. Water tasted awful to me.
Weird.
It did just because of my taste buds. Like everything tasted bad except for like really sweet stuff. I guess if it had enough sugar, it could kind of get past the bad taste. So I was drinking a lot of like Gatorade.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I was just like drinking, like I would drink like half a bottle of Gatorade and then pour water into it just to try and get like more water into myself because water on its own, it was just like, this sucks. I hate it so bad much.
Jesus. That's really
Yeah.
brutal. I thought maybe when you said that you were sick or whatever on socials that like, oh, he's got a cold. That sucks for like a day or two, but I'm sure it'll be fine after that.
I feel like for me personally, if I posted about it on socials, it's now a big deal.
Sure. Fair enough.
Because if it was like just a cold or whatever, then yeah, I would not have even mentioned that. But no, it was like I was just like staying in hotel rooms in like gorgeous cities.
Did you like get to watch some cool Italian TV or something while you're in the hotel? Like, what did you do in there? Just chilled or?
No, and I was hoping maybe I'll play some games on my Switch. I just didn't feel like doing anything. I was so dead. I just
Yeah.
like I that's the thing is like I'm thinking back on it and I was like, okay, I remember trying to sleep a lot, but that was unsuccessful.
Yeah.
But like what did I do for hours? Like I guess I must have slept for some of it. But I remember being like, man, I just can't fall asleep. But I guess I was like kind of going in and out so often.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's brutal. Bad timing. That sucks.
Yeah, and one of the funnier things was I got to Italy and our first stop was Venice.
Mhm.
And I was like, cool, I'm in Italy. I'm going to have some pasta while I'm here. I'm going to have pizza,
Yeah.
It's like, big Italian food. So like first night we're there, I get some carbonara
Mm.
and then we're walking around. I'm still hungry and I get just like a slice of pizza just at a random thing off the street.
Yeah.
And the following day we have like a walking tour and the guide says, okay, so let me give you some tips. Don't eat pizza in Venice because we're not allowed open flames here. So it's not going to be great pizza. And I was like, oh, okay,
Oh.
well, I guess I'll wait till I'm out somewhere else. And don't have carbonara because that's a Florence thing. Wait until you're in Florence. And I was like, oh, okay. So I had both those last night. And then as soon as I get to Florence, appetite gone. I'm sick.
Yeah. Man.
So like I did get pasta one more time, and that was in Rome. I went to dinner with my girlfriend. She was going out and doing her own thing because
Yeah.
she's not just gonna sit in the room. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go out to dinner with you. I'm gonna try and actually get like a dinner. The pasta just tasted like salt.
Oh.
All I could taste
gross.
was salt. So eventually I was just like, I can't eat this. And I was like fading. So I was like, I need to leave early. I'm sorry. Goodbye. And
Yeah.
just like walked out of the restaurant.
So she didn't get sick? Like catch it from you?
No,
Wow.
surprisingly.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's great for her. Damn.
Yeah. Because like she wouldn't have had there was no way to get away from me. So, but yeah, she was lucky. I don't know what it was. So,
Man, brutal. Not COVID
but
though.
hey, enough of not COVID. So I guess that's good. But
Just that shitty
I don't
flu
know.
that everybody's getting, I guess.
Flu and cold thing. What has your last few weeks been up to? Anything cool going on?
No, I've just been playing games, hanging out, just doing my thing. Like I kind of mentioned it before. I was sick last week, so that's why we didn't do a show. I was just getting like I was probably in the same state you are now, and I just didn't want to be hacking up a lung or whatever. And like I think John had just got back too from MagFest, so it just wasn't a great week to do it. And then the week before you two were gone, so that's kind of why we've been gone. But yeah, no, nothing too special otherwise. I was kind of hoping that maybe we get some MagFest stories from John, but he was unable to make it. I don't know if we actually mentioned that yet, but you probably could tell, audio only listeners, from the fact that he hasn't said anything, that he is not here. He was not able to make it, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he's up to, but he just kind of last minute had to cancel. So
Yeah.
hopefully things are okay.
Yeah, exactly. But we're here to hold down the fort either way, so it's fine.
Yeah. Well, let's do a podcast then. This is the Top Down Perspective for February 1st. I'm Sean Booker.
I'm Paul Fleck.
I think this technically means we passed the anniversary of the show.
Technically, I
If I remember, I think it's like around like the 28th of January or something like that. 20th or 28th, something like that.
Yeah, if we had kept going after the Game of the Year show, we would have hit 700.
Well, I was about to say next week's or whatever our next episode is, which should be next week.
Yeah.
That should be episode 700, but that doesn't correlate to the anniversary, right? But I think the anniversary like just happened.
Mm-hmm.
So, hey, I can't remember how old this thing is. When did I start it? 2010. So 14.
Yeah, that
14
sounds
years.
probably
So
about right. Yeah.
So it can get its learner's permit in Alberta.
Sure. Yeah, that's a thing it could do. It could learn how to drive.
It can read up on it and get and begin to start learning. Yeah, I guess so. And then is it 16 where you can get the actual license?
Yeah, unless they change that, but I don't think they have.
Yeah. I don't know. I got mine when I got mine a little late. It was like 17 or something. I think 17 or 18 maybe. I don't know. I remember just kind of not caring about getting it.
Sure, fair enough.
Okay. Paul, what have you been playing?
I mean, recently it's just been Palworld. We can talk a little bit about Palworld if you want. I don't know that I have a whole lot to say about it except that it's a survival game that's just kind of fun. So I've been playing kind of two versions of it. I've been playing solo stuff to kind of see the different pals, reading their like Pokedex entries or whatever, like reading up about them when I catch them, and taking my time to kind of like see what's going on in the game that way. And then also we have I started a community server, and so we have a server where a bunch of us are just fucking around and doing dumb shit, and that's been probably the funner way to play, to the surprise of nobody. But if you like a survival game, I think Palworld is 100% worth checking out. It has all of the carrot on a stick things that keeps you in. I was gonna say intrigued, but I would say more just engaged. Like there's always a little goal or little goals to hit, so it's fun. I think I particularly like how you can interact with the pals and use them as like your weaponry or whatever, and I think that's kind of fun and interesting. So like ones that can like fly or whatever, so if they're big enough you can make a saddle and ride them just as a flying mount, or like ones that there's like a flying almost like stingray or something, not stingray, manta ray type thing, and like you can build gloves so that you use that as your glider. There's like basically a fire Eevee type character that you can also build gloves so that you can pick that character up and basically like an alt use it as a flamethrower to just like burn the shit out of things. Like, yeah, no, it's cool. I think the game's really fun, but it is the culmination of a bunch of other things that you like in video games put together. So of course it was going to be probably fun.
I did start it. Off the bat, it's really survival heavy, which I don't like survival games. I never want to think about my hunger meter.
Sure.
I get pretty bored early on of punching trees.
Sure.
So there's that. I like the Pokemon aspect of it, but that's definitely seems to be kind of back, like secondary to the survival part to it.
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate that it's been known as Pokemon with guns, because it's actually Arc with Pokemon is more correct. So
yeah, I've been hearing people say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how much more I'm going to play with it now. It does have multiplayer, so that might help it a little bit for me, but we'll see. I haven't written it off totally yet. I feel like it doesn't explain enough stuff, and I'm assuming that's just from the early access nature.
Yeah,
like, for example, like put a Pokemon, put a pal in your base.
Yeah,
it's like, okay, I don't know why I'm doing that. You didn't tell me why, and I guess it just like hangs out in the area.
No, so every pal there's like a bunch of jobs that they can do, and depending on what like that pal can do, it will do that job as necessary to like upkeep your base for you. So some of them are like gatherers, some of them are farmers, some of them just do like watering stuff or whatever. So you
Okay.
want a
What does the
variety.
sheep do for me?
The sheep, I think, gather things and can help build things faster. So starting out, you probably
Okay.
want a couple of them just to make that like building stuff is way too long for some buildings that you want to do after like the first basic ones. They can be up to like 2 minutes, which is insane to hold F down on the keyboard. So like the idea is that you probably will have two or three pals to make that like 10 seconds instead of 2 minutes. Um, so
Okay.
just stuff like that. Later on, when you get like your first berry patch, for example, you want a pal that is able to do like the seeding part and then one to also do the watering part, just stuff like that. That's what it's for.
And so, I put the sheep in there and I'm like, okay, well, I checked that box and it gave me another quest to do.
Yeah.
Then it's like, hey, some pals will get like anxious if they don't have a bed. And I'm like, well, I have no
Yeah.
idea how to make a bed. What do you, like? You didn't tell me how to make a bed. You're just like complaining about a lack of bed. Like, what? Why don't you tell me about that first instead of putting that in my face?
Yeah. I think the thing they need to describe better is the technology tree, like where you go into it and then you have to kind of spend your tech points to be able to have the ability to do certain things and then you can do those certain things. Like I think if you're not into just like playing a whole bunch of survival games and looking in menus for that sort of shit, just inherently that can be really confusing starting off.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very much
Yeah. So that
a survival game. You have to like survival games to get the most out of this. Otherwise, if you play with friends and you can have like a couple buddies do the survival part, if you just want to go around and like shoot distinct copyright distinct Pokemon with arrows or whatever. Like if that's your jam, you could do that and just have your friends do the other stuff or whatever.
is there any kind of like story or thing you're trying to accomplish? Like,
I think so. I
okay,
can't really tell. There are NPCs and characters in the world, but I don't know how they like there's an overall story going on or something.
okay, you're not like trying to like go to a gym.
There is definitely like boss fight encounters or something like raids or whatever that I guess you could call a gym. One of the first things you get, like when you start the game, they give you kind of a list of like these are the things you should do, like a tutorial list. And the end of that
Yeah.
list is go to like this tower and face off against the syndicate person or whatever.
Okay.
And that's basically like essentially a gym battle where you go in and there is a tough ass pal and gym character, like pal trainer. I don't know what the fuck you would call them. And you have to take it out.
Okay. Yeah, like the only kind of narrative I've gotten so far is, you wash up on the shore and then there's a person
Yeah.
hanging out by a fire and they're like, these creatures murdered my entire party. This place is a nightmare. And that's it. It's like,
Yeah.
what? What is happening?
The part I like for like the flavor stuff is that the place really is like nightmare Pokemon. If some of those Pokedexes entries are just like, hey, this Pokemon, this pal, like is known for just being really friendly, so people capture it, and then they usually kill off their owners or whatever. It's like, what the fuck? Like, there's just fucked up entries for all of them.
Yeah, I do kind of like someone kind of looked at these Pokemon and was like, these games are for kids, but in reality, these things are weapons. These things
Yeah.
are absolute weapons, and they would be like they would be like kept at a distance,
Yep.
like we do with wild animals, but even further because these
Yep.
things can like shoot magic, like they're all wizards. So like
They
I
are
do like them kind of
animals.
being like, yeah, I do kind of like the idea of like what if we actually like made things realistic where it's and then I do like that you can just run up and hit them with a stick because like in real life I could do that. If I
Yep.
saw an animal, I could run up and hit it with a stick. It's probably not a good idea, but like that's a thing that could be done.
Yeah. And then if so, it does such weird shit too. There's a sanity meter for your pals that are working, and if you don't have things that they can like kind of, if they don't have a bed later on, if they don't have like their hot tub or whatever, just things they can do to unwind, they'll like their sanity will lower and they'll get depressed and stuff like that. And then you can build a butcher's cleaver and then hack them up and make them meat for dinner that night. Like,
I
it's
mean,
kind of fucked up.
I guess that's. I mean, I guess that is technically true, but yeah, that is also fucked up.
Yeah, so it's that stuff about the like the flavor of what's going on that I really like. But again, if that stuff sounds interesting to you, that's great. You are still going to have to collect berries to eat because you will starve. You will still have to
Yeah.
punch trees to build houses. You will still have to do survival stuff. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
and that's what's pushing me away from it a bit.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
You playing anything else?
Um Nah, not nothing to really talk about yet, I don't think.
Okay. So I talked about this like real briefly at the beginning of our Game of the Year episode, but I have finished and now played through Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. I'm
Yes.
surprised you haven't played this. This seems extremely up your alley.
I played Momodora, so I don't want another Metroidvania right now.
Okay. Like I said on the Game of the Year show, this game is like really, really awesome. I loved it so much. I didn't like 100% it. There's plenty more I could go back and do, but it looks really good and it handles really well. I was getting like Dead Cell vibes off of the character movement and the combat and how tight everything is. The abilities you get are also like pretty unique. I don't want to like spoil them, but they're not like some of them are like pretty you could guess, but other ones are just are completely new. I guess the one you've seen in the trailer is where there's like the time powers.
Oh yeah,
You can
sure.
like warp back to a different one, and that's cool when when they start incorporating that into like the platforming, where you need to like, okay, I need my clone to like press this button for me so that I can like warp and get past this part earlier on later, or I need him to drop down and hit this thing, but then I need to be able to warp back so that I get, I can move past it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really great. I want to say I finished it in maybe like 12-ish hours,
Okay.
which is that's on the shorter end from what I was hearing. There's kind of two ways to go through the game. There's exploration mode, which I think is the default, but then there's guided where they will always have a marker on like where you should go next. And that's
Okay.
what I wanted to do. So I did that. So I always kind of was going sorry, one second.
Yeah, no, I would definitely go with guided myself personally, so that makes sense.
You would do guided or you wouldn't?
Yeah, for sure. I would 100% do guided.
Oh. Wow. See, I think I was just going to assume the opposite because I remember this was the thing with Hollow Knight, and like my big complaint with Hollow Knight was I
Sure.
never know if I'm going the right direction.
The
Just
problem with
please give
Hollow
me
Knight
a
is
like a
that it
marker.
didn't show you on the map. It just showed you the map and you had to kind of know where you were.
Yeah, so exploration will show you where you are on the map and stuff like that,
Yeah.
but it will not show you where to go. Um,
Mm. Okay, yeah.
which is just for you to explore around. Guided one will give you a destination, and so I really liked that because sometimes it's like way on the other side of the map you're going, and the map is pretty big to the point where it was like, all right, you need to here's your objective, and it's like you just doubled the size of my map screen. I didn't realize the map was this big. Holy smokes! Okay, I got time to buckle up.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's really great. My favorite area is someone. Oh, hang on,
Hmm.
man, all this talking is killing me. My favorite area is this shipwreck. It's
Okay.
kind of far on the or the right side of the map where it is just because of the nature of the area you're in and like time stuff's going on.
Hmm.
A big naval battle in the middle of of a sea storm happened, and it's in the middle of it, and then time froze, and you're just platforming and fighting your way through like ships being blown in half and tidal waves and stuff, and you're like running on the water, and there's nothing like technically impressive about it, but just like the way it looks is super cool, and you'll be going like through a ship that has been split in two, and there's a lightning bolt going down it, and it's just like frozen like that, and you're just like jumping your way up the ship. Oh, it looks so cool. I think the entire game looks really great. And it's fully voice acted. That's great as well.
That is
I,
cool.
I'm I was so impressed with just how like tight and great a game this was. It reminded me a lot of a previous Metroidvania from Ubisoft a while ago. It's like a decade plus ago called Outland, I think it was called.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right.
How
Which
is
that involved a whole
Ubisoft?
bunch of like they at least published it for sure. I
Oh,
don't know if they
okay.
developed it, but like I know Ubisoft was tied to it in some way. And that was all about like kind of flipping dimensions, doing all these like um what am I thinking of? Platforming puzzles by flipping like the state of the world back and forth and stuff like that. And there's a power very similar to that as well in this game. So I got a lot of vibes from that as well. But I think it's just a really tight Metroidvania. I think it's one of like the best ones we've gotten in the genre. And you've probably seen it on social media. They have that feature where at any point you can hit down on the D-pad and it'll just take a picture
That's so
of where
awesome.
you are. They'll put it on the map. So if you're just like, I don't know what this obstacle is, but I'll come back later, and you can take a picture of it and you can look at that picture whenever you want.
That's such a
Kind of
fun
weird that there's
quality of life thing that's like genre defining, and that like when I play with it, I know I'll want every Metroidvania to have that going forward.
yeah, it's kind of weird that it's a finite resource. I didn't use it that often, but I can't really see anyone like running out of them. They give you quite a bit, but just the idea at all that there's a finite resource that you have to like spend in-game currency to increase if you want is kind of weird. Especially because they bill it as like an accessibility feature.
Yeah.
But it is still a really great feature that I've been hearing a lot of people praising, and it is definitely cool for sure.
Yeah. It's very cool sounding.
Yeah. That game's also just like Dragon Ball Z. Like time and time again, I was just like, oh yeah, I watched Dragon Ball Z. Yeah, clearly whoever made this game also watched a lot of Dragon Ball Z with some of the cutscenes and some of the weird stuff going on in the fights and whatnot.
Yeah.
Um, all right, the other game I played when I got back was Turnip Boy Robs a Bank.
Yeah, I want to hear about this. I was gonna play this the night it came out, but got pulled away with some other stuff.
So this is a roguelike. Um,
That made me immediately less interested, to be honest with you. But
Whereas the first one was like, I don't know, like a Zelda like or
sure.
whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, this is a roguelike. You constantly keep going to this bank, and areas will open up further into the bank based on whatever items you've purchased off the black market.
Okay.
There's like 4 distinct areas, and they each have a boss and stuff like that. I think it's good. I think the writing is still really top notch and quite funny. There's a whole bunch of like little mini side quests in there. I think they're pretty like forgettable in terms of like the rewards. They just give you like cosmetic items. You don't really get anything for doing them. But they can be funny. Like this one guy is he has fused like everything's anthropomorphized. So all the fruit and stuff they're people.
Yeah.
He's fused like 4 fruit people together, and he's about to like electroshock them to like bring them to life. But
Yeah.
he's having like a crisis of faith where he's like, "Is this ethical?"
Sure. Yeah. That's right on brand. That's great.
So you need to like. That's the thing is everyone has something. They're like, "Oh man, I need you to bring me back something,"
Yeah.
and you have to go. I forgot exactly what the guy's name. He's like the thinker or something. You need to go talk to him and get some like words of wisdom, so that you can
Okay.
then go back to the mad scientist and tell him whether or not it's okay, and then I won't spoil the end of that little side quest, but they're all pretty minimal.
Okay.
It is primarily a roguelike.
Yeah.
Um, my one issue is I'm never gonna finish the game because after you beat all 4 of the bosses, what they want you to do is a boss run of the entire thing all at once, which is not
Oh.
too difficult. It's just long and kind of tedious. And so, I did that, and then it enters this like end game scenario where I wasn't exactly sure what my objective was, but it seemed like I died in one hit and had to do the whole thing again,
What?
like the
Oh,
boss rush.
jeez. Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know what it was like, unless The best thing I could possibly say is like maybe I didn't have much health and I got hit once or something, but I'm pretty sure I was doing like totally fine with the health. Because by at that point, like you have so much money, you've bought all the upgrades and everything like that.
Yeah.
I died extremely quickly, and then it was like, all right, do the boss rush again. And to that I said, no. What if I just never play this game again? What are you talking about? Like, what is
Yeah.
wrong with you?
Right.
Um, so I need to like look it up a little bit. Unfortunately, it's not super popular, so not many people are talking about it on the internet. But
Mm.
I need to look up and see like what exactly needs to be done. Because I might have one more attempt into me. Because like I said, the boss rush is not hard. It's just time consuming.
Yeah.
But if I'm gonna end up in a scenario again where it's like one hit and you're just out, like then
It's bullshit.
yeah, no thank you.
Yeah. No, that sucks.
Weird thing to do for sure. Yeah.
Oh,
Anyway, that's all I've been playing.
I
Oh,
wanted to bring
yeah,
up
go
one
ahead.
other thing just to have it kind of
Okay.
on record. I finished Dave the Diver. That game is done. And that game, I was thinking about when you said tedious. I was like, Dave the Diver at some point just introduced way too much for me. And it was just like, it doesn't feel like you're adding on to the experience anymore. It feels like you're giving me busy work. Like I just need to be done this. And so I finished
Oh,
that
okay.
game.
Okay. Did you do any of the like the interest like the crossover DLC, like the dredge stuff?
I did the dredge thing. So, do you want to
Is it
know how
good?
to access it? Because it's kind of fucked
Yeah,
up.
sure.
You
Okay.
have, first of all, you have to get to the point where you unlock a mechanic in the farm, the eggs, the chickens. I don't know if you got that yet. I'm sure
It's
you
I
did.
think I do. I
I'm
think I
sure
do.
you did. So, you like, I guess I'm saying this for other people who might listen and are wondering as well. If you, as long as you have the chicken farm thing unlocked and you have the dredge DLC installed, sometimes you will get a random drop at night where it's foggy, and then that's the dredge stuff. So it's a random drop that you have to just hope for.
Oh,
Yeah, I was not stoked. So
okay.
what I did it at the end after credits rolled and all that stuff because the game goes on forever. You're running a restaurant. You're not going to stop.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah.
and I just like there's a day skip thing or like advance the day button. I
Oh,
just
okay.
kept doing
Yeah.
that until I got
That
it.
sucks though.
It
That's not
sucks.
great.
I think so. I kind of wanted to bring it up that because if you're playing that game and you're at that point, you should have that installed so that when you're like playing through the game normally, you'll
Oh,
get it at some point, probably.
sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And they just announced a Godzilla DLC.
So I'm pretty sure it's going to be a similar thing where it's an event that can happen, which
Yeah.
is fine, I guess. But for people that like play through the game already, that's kind of a bummer that there's not just a mode or way to see that instantly, the new content, without playing through a bunch of days. Oh well, it is what it is. That thing is way too long. That ending is kind of cool though. It's kind of neat. I liked it. I like that final like boss thing that happens. It's good.
Okay. All right. I
Are
need to
you,
get back to it because I think I'm close. So
I was gonna say I was gonna ask you if you had played any of it on your trip as
I
well.
did not bring the Steam Deck. No, I just brought the Switch.
Fair enough. Cool.
All right. Let's do some news. Um, I mentioned that the Dave the Diver Godzilla DLC that was shown off during the PlayStation State of Play live stream.
Yep.
Did you watch any of this?
I watched it. Yep. Hmm.
Okay. I guess just if some sections you want to call out, feel free to start us off.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, right from the jump, I've been wanting to see more about Stellar Blade, and they showed that and gave a date, so I'm freaking stoked. I can't wait for that thing. It looks like
Okay.
the just another platinum game, which is exactly what I want. Dragon's Dogma 2, I'm just excited for that game, so that was great to see that thing or whatever.
What is your interest level on this Silent Hill short message game that they just dropped?
Oh,
It's
I
out.
played it. I already played it last night. It's fun.
Oh, wasn't worth talking about?
Uh, I will say that if you like Silent Hill stuff, it gets the atmosphere and tone right. If you are squeamish at all about trauma dumping stuff and suicide specifically, it's going to be hard. There's a lot of that stuff in it, but it was fine. It was better than Ascension, but I mean, I don't think that's necessarily saying anything.
How long was it?
It was about 2.5 hours.
Yeah, it's pretty good for a free game.
For sure. Yeah, no. It got the tone and everything right, the atmosphere. So I thought that thing was cool. If you have a PS5, it's definitely worth playing if you like Silent Hill stuff. It's not like it's worth buying a PS5 for, obviously, but yeah, it was fine.
This is going to be the new PT where I'm going to be able to like sell my PS5 for like a profit, right?
I doubt it.
When it
Yeah,
eventually gets delisted. Yeah,
I
I don't
highly doubt that.
know. I don't know. Not much did from this live stream hit me specifically. It was cool to see Judas for I think the first time.
Yeah, I'm down for BioShock 2 Electric Boogaloo. Let's go into that type of game again. I'm in.
Yeah, for those who don't know, this is Ghost Story Games. This is the studio that Ken Levine, the creator of BioShock, has been working on for like a decade now.
Yeah,
So it is just kind of interesting to be like, okay, what is this person's follow up to BioShock?
yeah,
No date or anything on that, so who even knows?
yeah, yeah.
And then just like the longest Death Stranding 2 trailer,
Yeah,
which I mean makes sense. Kojima likes long trailers. Like that's a thing.
true. That thing that thing looks weird. Like, stop me if
Yep.
you've heard this before. A Kojima game looks weird.
Yep.
I'll
Oh,
play.
absolutely.
I'll play it though.
Oh, for sure. Like, yeah, it's kind of just like, yeah, I got to see what the next thing is.
Maybe more interesting though is that he said after production is done with that, they're going to move to an espionage game called Fizzant or whatever, or at least Project Fizzant is, I guess, what people are calling it because of the tease he did. Um, that
Yeah,
that should be interesting because that sounds like Metal Gear again.
you guys got a lot of games going on because there's also the
Yeah,
Jordan Peele Xbox thing that they're doing as well.
yeah, that's
Um,
true.
and he was also talking about how like Fizzant is also going to be like a movie. But what that was
True.
also part of the pitch of the Jordan Peele thing. Like it's going to be like a cross media thing. Like so, I don't know, man. I feel like
Yeah,
Kojima, everyone is just like writing him blank checks for like any ideas that he has, and he's like, what if it was like a game and a movie and a comic book? And they're like, I love it. How many zeros do you want? Let's do it.
yep, yeah. Oh, it should be interesting. Like, I like Metal Gear games a lot, so him going back to that style of game, I'm interested. And when he said it's kind of like a game and a movie, it's like, yeah, all of your fucking Metal Gear games are. You play the game for half an hour and then there's an hour movie. Like, that's how they all are. So we'll see.
Yeah. So is it just gonna be like the more of the same or something?
Right.
Who knows? Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
maybe more FMV or something in there. I was going to ask you, do you care about Rise of the Ronin at all? Because that seems like maybe a you thing, being the Assassin's Creed guy.
Um, at the moment, like no, but
Yeah,
like well, I guess we'll see.
sure. Okay. Yeah.
Anything else from the stream that you wanted to mention before we move on?
February 6th, Foam Stars. I'm so in. I need to play that thing. I think that's going to be fun and infuriating in the way Splatoon is. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I remember that game. What is good? I don't think it's as good as Splatoon, so I think that's kind of what a lot of people are gonna say.
Sure. Okay, fair. That makes sense.
PDP announced their Riftmaster wireless guitar controller. It's official and real.
I haven't seen this yet. Oh my god.
Yeah,
Okay.
so this is the it's going to work on Rock Band 4 and Fortnite. I guess Fortnite Festival specifically. There's a PlayStation version and then there's an Xbox version, and I think both of them will also work with
Hmm.
the PC.
Okay.
Um, they're basically exactly like the Rock Band 4 guitars, where they can fold at the neck for better storage.
Okay.
They have
Sure.
5 buttons, 5 at the top, 5 at the bottom, but they do the same thing. So it just looks like they're just more of what we expect. Nothing. So the big thing for me is it seems like there's nothing unique to these, so I don't actually need to buy one,
Right.
as I should just be able to use my current Rock Band 4 guitars.
But
And
but you probably
I
will.
have no like plans to buy one of these.
Okay.
There's literally no reason to buy one. I have working modern controllers, so I don't
But
need one.
We'll see. We'll see. That's all I'm
Honestly, the
saying.
only way I end up with one of these is if like this thing does so spectacularly bad in stores that they start discounting them, and I just be like, okay, well it was $10, like whatever, why not?
Sure. Okay.
At least I'm giving it a good home.
All I'm saying is we'll see. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I guess we will see. No release date, just says spring. But like, it's real, so there you go.
Yeah.
And
Cool.
last little story I pulled here is that Alan Wake got an update that turns down the jump scares.
So that's not what it does. What it does is it's accessibility options for people that have troubles with like strobing lights and stuff. So what that means is that those jump scares are that, so it turns that down as well. So like
Yeah.
it's an accessibility thing. The way this was worded at first made me laugh so hard because Kotaku's like, new Alan Wake update is great for babies or some shit. It's and so many people are
Yeah.
like, yeah, I guess because I have epilepsy, I'm a giant baby now, so that's great. And I found that so funny. I know,
But
what
those
they
are
were.
some of the worst. It's just
Yeah.
those like random flashes of just like someone screaming at you out
Oh,
of
it's
nowhere.
so
So you can turn
stupid.
those down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's so
that's nice.
I just found it funny that like I knew what they were going for because I looked at the article, but the way that title was worded was so funny to me. Holy crap. Um I mean, the thing they should really do is make an update to make the aiming and gunplay in that game not absolute fucking ass. The jump scares are good though, I guess, turning that down. And the epilepsy stuff. That makes sense. Kind of surprised it wasn't there to begin with, honestly.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Absolutely. I would have definitely turned that down. All right, let's do some questions. If you want to send a question in, topdownperspective@gmail.com, at TDB Podcast on Twitter, the Discord channel, or John's P.O. Box. And this first one comes from Kevin, who writes, what do you consider a C-tier video game?
Quantum Theory.
Quantum Theory. Okay, because I would have put that in like the B tier.
Really? Okay. Okay.
Well, what do you consider like B tier then?
Singularity.
Sorry, Quantum Theory? I might be thinking of a different game.
Quantum Theory is the bad Gears of War.
Oh, you know what I was thinking of? I was thinking of Binary Domain.
Binary Domain would be B to me. So I think, yeah, we align on that.
So are you saying a C tier game is just a bad game?
Yeah, that's basically what I'm saying.
Because like when I'm putting something in the B tier one, I'm saying it's like there's a significant flaw to this game, but
Okay.
it's still like there is a shine to it though. Like it is exactly like what I'm talking about when we're doing like honorable mentions on the Game of the Year show, where it's like
Okay, sure. That's fair.
this main like in a way it's like because sometimes the honorable mentions are like, hey, this was going to be number 11. Other times it's like this had no chance of ever being on my top 10 list, but I need to call it out because of like this part.
Sure, that's fair. Yeah, I think a C tier is probably like a 5 out of 10 or lower to me.
I do think it is like a pretty bad game because like if I'm lowering it that much, like B is already like flawed in some way, and now I'm
Sure.
lowering it another level. It's like this is probably not a good game.
Sure. Yeah, that's fair. Next question is from Rasterman7. What's the longest IRL time in real life time it's taken you to beat a game? As in the longest period going from the first time you played until you got an ending completion. Games that you've yet to beat don't count. Okay, that makes sense, I guess. I started Prey in 2017 when it released and beat it in 2020. So that's recently. That's somewhat recent.
Okay.
That was 3 years.
I don't know if I have one like this. I'm either usually finishing it in one setting or I'm never returning to it.
Sure.
I do have some RPGs where I got to like the last section and then just stopped playing them. So it's like I could have some answers, but because I did not finish them, they don't qualify.
I actually do have an answer here. I just got to look it up. Parappa the Rapper came out in 2001. I played that game when it came out and never beat it, and I beat it in 2023 in December.
There you go. Nice.
So, yeah, 22 years roughly.
Yeah, there's no way I have anything close to that. All right, waste of resources writes, if you were to Google image search pizza, does the top result have pepperoni on it or not? Don't search until all guesses are in.
Oh, okay. I didn't hit enter yet. I just typed pizza.
Okay. Yeah, so we're guessing. Do you think there's pepperoni on that picture?
100%. Yeah.
I think so as well.
Okay. Images. Yeah. Yeah. Interesting.
First one.
Yeah.
Oh no, for me it looks like it's just a cheese. In fact, I think it's the third one that is a pepperoni pizza.
I can probably, let's see, this, go here. This is my results there. That first one there is pepperoni, followed by a cheese, followed by, looks like a deluxe with olives on it. So, yeah. Yep.
It goes cheese, and then it looks like some kind of deluxe one. Like the second one is Wikipedia's deluxe one. So I was incorrect.
Cool. Dad writes, between the Game Boy Advance, the DS, and the 3DS, which console would you remove from existence?
This is easy.
I mean, I think it's the 3DS personally, but
Yep.
yeah,
Absolutely.
okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's just the libraries on the DS and the 3DS are too good. The 3DS does not even like touch those libraries.
The thing that made the 3DS so great is that it played some of the new stuff, which I really wanted to play, but also all of those old things as well. So,
well, the 3DS didn't play GBA games, I don't believe. They had removed that by that point.
Sure, they were on like the store, so I just bought them again. But yeah, I know they didn't.
And if you got your 3DS at launch, you were part of the ambassador program where they gave you a bunch of
that stuff,
really good Game Boy Advance games.
Yeah,
that's how I got. That's how I own Minish Cap.
A lot of the reason why the 3DS was so good was because of the backwards compatibility on top of the. I don't know what would you say? Maybe probably less than 10 for me, anyways. Like 3DS exclusive things I cared about.
Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head, but I just know like I love the DS's library. That's one of my favorite libraries, and then the Game Boy Advance just has like too many bangers on it.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, nose blow break.
Oh yeah, no,
VGC Kenny, right? A few trailers for Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. And from what I've seen in them, it looks like a PS2 game, but I mean that in the best way possible, which leads me to an interesting point. When something is in pixel art, a la NES or SNES, people appreciate it more because it's a style. People don't usually treat early 3D the same way, despite also being a style. When does a game stop looking bad in 3D and start looking like a specific style, whether it be N64, PS1, PS2, Dreamcast, or what have you?
When does it stop looking bad? When it is a choice that the artist makes and not one based on limitations, I think. So they go full in on it. Like, I don't know. It's also like completely subjective. Yeah, a lot of people like pixel art stuff, but I really like PS1 era like looks and stuff because that was my nostalgia or whatever. So like, it's completely subjective, I think. But it's when the people making the art are trying to do that style, I think, is when it stops looking bad.
I don't know. I think for me, I'm gonna look at N64 graphics, and I'm just always gonna look at them. I think they look bad. Like nostalgia aside, like when I like Final Fantasy VII comes to mind, those characters are never gonna look good. Those weird like circular shoulders and weird proportions of those cheap. I just never think those look good.
Sure.
And I just think 3D is hard because like I even have plenty of movies where it's like this movie I love, and every year I go back to it and it's like, oh, this is aging, and I can see that it is aging, and that's just how 3D animation looks. Like it ages poorly. Whereas for whatever reason, pixel art just does not age. I don't know what the reason is behind that.
Yeah, I don't know. I like the look of N64, so I just disagree fundamentally. But I mean, I know it's fine. Like, again, kind of subjective. Pixel art can be really great, but a lot of times is also kind of boring. Like, it's also one of those things that good pixel art is incredible, but most pixel art can be sometimes. All subjective. Oh, we're at here. Phantom Aegis writes, how many slices of pizza can you eat? Be sure to clarify what kind of pizza it is. What's with the pizza stuff?
Been a while since I've like really gone for it though, is the thing. So I don't know what I can these days. But like for the most part, like I could eat a whole pizza by myself.
Yeah.
In terms of the size is obviously going to change it up, but like I'm talking like like a Delicio, oven pizza, whatever those like in the box. Like I would just eat a whole one of those by myself.
In the States, do you guys go inch? What, like if you were to order pizza, is it by inches as well? Like this, you do.
I believe so. I feel like it's usually like small, medium, large, extra large, and they'll have like corresponding inch sizes. But we just like don't pay attention to that. We're just like, I don't know, there's 10 of us, get 2 larges.
So up here, large is generally 16-inch on 8 slices, and I can finish one of those usually pretty okay. I won't feel great later on, but like I can do that for sure. If I really push, maybe 10 pieces, but then I would feel like absolute shit.
I don't know what it is like about like pizza, but like I can eat so much pizza.
Yeah.
Like pizza's often something that like work will order. And if there's a time where it's just like, I'm just gonna eat as much pizza as I can because there's like a whole bunch of pizza here and no one else is gonna eat that much.
Sure.
It's like I can like just keep eating pizza.
Yeah.
Which to a degree where it's just like, no, it doesn't make sense how many slices of pizza I just ate, but I could just keep going.
Do you think it has anything to do with like it being so greasy? While it's warm, the grease is like liquidy, so it easily fills your stomach, and then it solidifies, and then it feels heavy later. You're like, oh god, that was so much grease. I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, it's definitely not good for me, that's for sure. So
Yeah.
it's like I said, it's been a long time since I've probably eaten more than like 4 slices of pizza in like one kind of meal.
Sure.
Even nowadays, like if my girlfriend and I will get like a pizza, we'll have half of it each, which is usually like 3 or 4 slices, but half a pizza
Yeah.
is usually like my limit these days.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably smart. Because that shit can be real bad for you.
Wayward writes, what's your biggest gaming related achievement of last year? Could be a particular boss fight or something more broad, such as getting through an especially long game, but something you did last year.
2023. I mean, it's not really an achievement because it's nothing special, but I played through all of Baldur's Gate. I saw credits on that thing. That thing is crazy long.
Okay. Hey, that's not easy. That's a commitment.
Yeah, but it's also not hard. It's a commitment. It's not like a challenge. It's a commitment.
This is kind of in a different vein than they're probably expecting, but the thing I'm most proud of, going to the PlayStation headquarters.
Okay.
Being invited to the PlayStation headquarters and getting to cover the portal like before it launched and like being a part of that and covering it like as a game journalist, I was pretty proud of that.
Man, I wonder how long that thing's going to like exist on shelves if they're gonna restock it or whatever.
It seems like it's somewhat popular because I see like Wario64 like tweeting like it's available again, blah blah blah. So people seem to want them.
That's so weird to me. All right, well, whatever. Hebrew Lantern writes, you break into someone's house. What are you stealing that will only mildly inconvenience them?
TV remote.
Yeah, the TV remote was where my mind went first too. Yeah.
This one, this one would also be like, it's a small thing to steal, but I think it would be way too much of an inconvenience. Is like the power cable for the TV, because you definitely don't have a replacement for that.
Oh yeah. What about like an
So that
HDMI cable instead of the power cable? Just like
no, see, I don't. Maybe that's mild, but like for me specifically, someone steals an HDMI cable. I got 3 more. Honestly, you're doing me a
that's
favor getting some of those out of my house.
well, that's the point. It's mildly inconvenient that you have to replug it in.
Like I guess so. Yeah, I don't think that's inconvenient enough.
It's not inconvenient enough. Like the remote, the remote's good. Even if you just took the batteries out of the remote and like threw them somewhere in the couch or something, just like something that they didn't work right away.
Yeah, I don't. Well, I don't think you can take the batteries out of my remote, but even like the batteries wouldn't be for a different device wouldn't be that issue, because I just have like a jar of rechargeable
Of
batteries
batteries.
that kind of sit on the so it's like I can replace batteries pretty easily.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd have to take like the whole remote with it to make it like really annoying.
What about like the space bar off of their keyboard or something?
Okay, yeah, that seems pretty bad. What
Yeah.
so what if it was just like a letter though? What if you just took like their F key?
Or like an A, something that they have to use for a lot of words, like a vowel, probably.
Yeah,
An
that would
E.
suck. That would definitely suck.
Yeah.
TC Golden, what is a dish or good item from any video game you want to try or are interested in giving a try?
A dish or good item? I mean, something that gives me a double jump would be sick. But I think he means food. They mean food.
Oh, it says, I mean, good item. If you can think of an
Yeah.
item that gives you the double jump. I just don't know if that many items. There's probably like boots in one game where that's how you get the double jump.
What about a
Um,
1-up mushroom? So that if I die, I
See, I
come
was
back.
thinking kind of similarly, like Phoenix Down,
Yeah,
because
sure.
like
Phoenix down.
then I could die
Yeah.
and then I get to come back to life. So
Uh,
that would be kind of a cool experience too.
I'm not interested in giving it a try, though, I guess, just in case. So,
That brings up the second question. It's like, okay, so someone has presented me with the Phoenix Down.
mhm.
Someone promises me they will use it on me if I die. Am I brave enough to go through with like getting killed?
Like, no, because why would you risk it anyway, right? You just hold on to it
Exactly. Yeah.
in
I
case.
guess that's the smarter thing, is hold on to it for like a rainy day, right? Like just keep it in your safe at home and just let your loved ones know, like, if hey, in the worst case scenario, you bust this thing out
Yeah,
and then make me drink it. No, because it's feathers, right?
it is
So pour
feathers.
it. You just put it on me. I don't actually know how you
Yeah.
how Phoenix Down works.
I'm just imagining this monkey's paw scenario where you're like dying of a terminal disease and then it resurrects you and you just die again or you're in pain forever or something like. Oh my god, get that
I
Phoenix
guess.
down away from me. Let me die.
Well, so wait, like in Final Fantasy, if you're poisoned and die and you come back, you're still not still poisoned.
I don't think, well, I don't know. Is that true in all of the games? Yeah, no, because the poison effect would probably. Oh, you know what you could do is if you had cancer or something and you die, let the cancer die with you and then use the Phoenix down.
That's what I'm thinking, is
Yeah,
whatever disease you have, is it only alive because your body's alive and it's like
it's
feeding
feeding
on
off you.
your living body? So you
Yeah.
just need to let it die out and then you can come back?
Yeah, okay. Is there like a statute of limitations on how long the Phoenix down works? And then you like need a resurrect spell or something?
No, I feel like in the games you could probably use it whenever you wanted, but I've never like waited that long. I want my party member back.
Sure.
Like I don't just like run around the game with only 3 people and the dead one just to see if I could do it.
Sure. Yeah.
And last question from Valcor. Have you ever done a challenge run for a game for fun? As an example, right now I'm playing Fire Emblem Three Houses, but I'm only allowed to use units and classes that friends picked for me.
I'm assuming speed runs don't count. They're a kind of challenge run, but I don't think that's the like question. I think it's more like a set of rules that you're trying to abide by, maybe.
I don't think I have. It makes me think of like the Pokemon Nuzlocke runs
Yeah.
that I've seen people do, but I don't think
Oh,
I've done anything like that.
yeah. I mean, I've done randomizers a whole bunch. I find them fun.
Okay.
Changing the game up or whatever. Or that stupid Resident Evil one that also randomizes the different enemies that can spawn where enemies are. So sometimes there's just like a bunch of tyrants in a tiny room or sharks just swimming around the main lobby or whatever. Yeah, no, totally. I've done those. That's about
Okay.
it.
That's going to do it for questions. If you want to send in a question for next week, it's topdownperspective@gmail.com, at TDP Podcast on Twitter, the Discord channel, or John's P.O. Box. What is your game of the week?
Palworld.
And mine's going to be Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown.
Nice.
Thanks, everyone, for listening. We'll see you next time for episode 700.
Woo! Bye.